Hello everyone, welcome to MediaNama. In March this year, we covered the draft digital competition bill, which was released by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs to regulate anti-competitive practices in the digital markets. But to completely understand this bill, it is essential that you grasp some key terms related to it. One of these terms is ex-ante and ex-post regulation. Ex-ante regulation, as proposed by the draft digital competition bill, aims to prevent anti-competitive practices from occurring by setting up restrictions on behavior by large players in the market. This basically means that rules are already in place which larger players have to comply with to prevent them from doing anti-competitive behavior. This is different from the competition regulation that we already have in place, which is the Competition Act of 2002, which basically regulates things after the effect. It's called ex post regulation. And under the Competition Act, the Competition Commission of India intervenes after anti competitive behavior occurs. Another thing you need to understand is self preferencing, which is when a platform directly or indirectly favors its own products and services. So let's say you're searching something on a platform like Amazon, and the first thing that pops up is its own products, like an Amazon Basic, as opposed to like another brand's product. That would probably be considered self-referencing. Products like Amazon Basics, by the way, are called private labels. These are products that are owned by a platform and sold alongside competing products. So, in terms of other businesses, let's say Tata, and you look at their platform Big Basket, and you're looking up like pulses there. Tata Sampann would be a private label of Tata that also sells pulses and is competing for the same attention that other brands of pulses are competing for on Big Basket. Then there's anti-steering. This is when a platform restricts business users. So business users would be merchants operating on it or developers operating on it from directing users to their own or third-party services. So, just like a very good example of this is the discussion that happened around Google starting November 2020. Around this time, Google announced that it's using an in-app billing system, which is mandatory for all apps. This billing system basically requires developers to pay a commission between 10 to 30% for any in-app purchases that happen on their apps. So by restricting developers to the billing system, Google was preventing them from directing users to web pages containing an alternate payment option. So let's say I'm a developer and I have an app on Google. Basically, what this thing did was it prevented me from asking people to pay on my website and enjoy the service in the app itself. So say I'm a developer and I make games online and I want to sell you tokens to make in-app purchases. So like to buy like armor for your character. Now, to avoid paying commission, what I would want to do is ask you to look at my website and pay through that. But because Google made the in-app billing system mandatory, I couldn't do that. There's exclusive deals. These are restrictions imposed by a seller on a merchant or a customer, restricting them from acquiring or selling goods and services other than those of the sellers. So let's say if a merchant sells the products of my company, my contract, and if my contract restricts them from selling the products of another company, that would be considered an exclusive deal. A good example of this is what happened in 2019. An investigation by the CCI found that Flipkart and Amazon appeared to be in a tie-up with smartphone manufacturers so that their e-commerce platforms would be the first places where the smartphone brands would list their new phone launches. There's tying and bundling, which is when a platform clubs together a bunch of its services and requires users not just to buy one service that they want, but also other services that are clubbed together. Let's say you want to buy a phone from a particular platform, and if the platform only allows you to do so through its own payment service, then that would be called tying the two services together. Alternatively, if there are two services that come clubbed together, like a phone that has pre-installed search engines, that would probably be considered bundles. There's data usage where platforms tend to have information about the merchants and end customers using their services, and can use this data to customize their offerings and offer cheap alternatives to what a merchant on their platform is offering. In a 2021 complaint against Swiggy and Zomato, they were allegedly called out for using data that they collect from merchants for their own advantage. So basically, for creation of private labels. Private labels we've already discussed are products sold alongside competing products. Are products of a platform sold alongside competing products. Search neutrality is something you need to know about. This is a principle that says that search engines should have no editorial policies and should rank products exclusively based on relevance. So you remember we've talked about self-referencing, which is like popping up your own product at the top of a search order. So that would be antithetical to search neutrality. There's network effects. This essentially means that as a product or service begins to be used by more people, its value for the user increases. Think of it this way. Let's say you're using WhatsApp to call and message your friends. Now, since everyone that you call and message are using WhatsApp, the platform would become more valuable to you, and you would be less inclined to switch to a competing platform like maybe Telegram or Signal. Finally, there's a practice called deep discounting, which is unusual price reduction. This was another thing that Swiggy and Zomato were accused of in a 2021 complaint. It was said that the platforms were initially funding discounts by themselves, but later they were asking restaurants to bear the cost of the discount. And if the restaurant refused to bear the cost, they were told that they were no longer eligible for proper listing on the two platforms. Deep discounting, especially those discounts which are made in favor of a specific merchant, are beneficial in the short run to customers but can later cause them problems. So if there's exceptionally low prices, then so like let's say there's a food business that sells products for much cheaper than other food businesses do. People would be more inclined to buy from that business in the short term, but later what it's going to cause is it will drive competing businesses out of the market and create a situation where one player becomes dominant. So then they can raise prices, and essentially that's going to be a demerit to customers and fellow merchants in the long run. For more information about the draft digital competition bill and about competition issues in India and abroad, you can take a look at our website. Thank you.